Good day everyone. I'm here to discuss about informal report. So let's start about motivation. First, I read it. You can have brilliant ideas, but if you can get them across, your ideas won't get you anywhere. By Lee Laloka. This motivation, your ideas is only you can express, and also your ideas no one can steal because it's from your knowledge. So let's proceed an introduction. There are various types of report. All types of report can be classified according to their action, formality, function, and length, etc. From the view of formalities, all reports can be classified in two divisions, formal reports and informal report. An informal report is usually in the form of a person-to-person communication. It does not follow the rules and procedures directed by an organization. Informal report can be prepared in one page, or if required, it can be prepared in several pages. So, informal reports is all about a communication from person to person. It does not follow rules and procedure, meaning it's more free and does not bound by the notes. So next is objectives. Objectives is describe business reports basics including function, organizational patterns, formats, and delivery methods. Follow guidelines for developing informal reports including determining the problem and purpose, gathering data, using an appropriate writing style, composing effective headings, and being objective. Describe 6 kinds of informal reports: write information and progress reports, write justification recommendation reports, write visibility reports, write minutes of meeting and summaries. So objectives, we will achieve the following objectives at the end of our report. So let's next is understanding report basics. So I read business report are difficult to define. Business reports may range in size or content. They can be represented by representing them orally or by sending them through an email. Business report can be created as memos, letters, numerical, can be created as memos, letters, numerical, data, information, or make recommendation. They all have one thing in common, and that is to answer question and solve problems. So it's content. So it's because there are some terminologies. Business report varied according to its content. You can send it form of email of to avoid time consuming. So next is function of reports. So function of reports is there are two categories of reports: informative reports and analytical reports. Informative reports present data without analysis or recommendation. Analytical reports provide data analysis, conclusion, and if requested, recommendation. So function of reports: informative are only represent and numbers, while analytical provide data at the same recommendation. Data's the same, so same recommendation according its content. And next is organizational patterns. So first, reports may organize directly or indirectly. Direct pattern has purpose of the writing close to the beginning. Direct pattern begins with an introduction, then facts, then a summary. So, and complementary close. Indirect pattern has the conclusion and recommendation, if requested, appear at the end of the report. So next is indirect patterns begins with an introduction, then followed by facts, and ends with a conclusion or recommendation. So most people prefer the indirect pattern because it follows the normal thoughts process. So the next is organizational patterns. First is reports may be organized directly or indirect. Direct patterns has the purpose of the writing close to the beginning. Direct patterns begins with introduction, then facts, then a summary, and complementary clause. Indirect pattern has the conclusion and recommendation if requested appear at the end of the report. Indirect pattern begins with an introduction, then followed by facts, and ends with a conclusion or recommendation. Most people prefer in the indirect pattern because it follows the normal thoughts process. So organizational pattern, most of the people preferred indirect patterns because it's easy to comprehend. So next is formats. Formats letters is used for short, 8 for fewer pages, informal reports addressed outside an organization. So it is used for short, and like memo format is used for short reports that stay within organization. Memo format is used like short reports, sample yun. So memo format is used for short reports that stay within organization, like unlike letter format is used for short. So manuscript format are for longer, more formal reports. This is manuscript is format are longer than memo is shorter, and letter format is informal report address. And next is printed forms are used for repetitive data. Next slide will be presented by Miss Uni Rosales. That's all, thank you.
Go.
My name is Eliza Valencia Rosales. I'm the second reporter of informal reports. So first, report delivery. Reports can be delivered in person. So in person, example, Facebook or sending files reports through internet. And the second is by mail. By mail is, for example, newspaper. Then third, by fax. By fax, you can send your files or reports. Next is by emails. By emails, you can send your files, reports. Then last, online. Online, now in our generation, can send it or deliver through messenger and any online using by internet. So next. Next slide. So, guidelines for developing informal reports.
Ulitin mo.
Guidelines for developing informal reports. The first step in writing a report is understanding the problem or an assignment clearly. This includes coming up with a statement of purpose. You then have to gather that data. Some examples are first, company records. So in the company records, this is the example of regarding the any files that will save or confide. Second is observation. So in the observation, of course, you observe or monitor them on what they say or do. Third, surveys, questionnaires, and inventories. So on the third, to know the other information that will they share or they will. Then fourth is interviews. Interviews, you interview some person regarding on the developing informal reports to know in what will they share in the guidelines. Then printed materials, we should have that, because for having copy too. Next, guidelines for developing informal reports. First, after you have gathered your information, you have to develop on appropriate written style. So, on that, after you compile any information that you pinagsama, you can develop inappropriate on what you follow the written style. Then second, once all that is done, you must come up with a effective headings. This is important because it is what is going to be very meaning. So in the second, you will must having effective heading. Then it is important because to have a very meaning on what you do in the informal reports. Then third is, when writing a report, you must be objective. You should do this by presenting both sides of an issue, separate fact or opinion, be sensitive, and cite cite source. So in that report, you must have a more objectives on that, because to present perfectly and of course have meaningful on what you will put on your informal reports. So next is six kinds of informal reports. So first, information reports, they collect and organize information on or investigatives. So first, on that first, you will collect all information, and then to organize on what you put in your reports, so that everyone they follow or understand. Second, progress reports monitor the headway of unusual or non-routine activities. Then third, justification recommendation reports are similar to information reports, except they offer analysis in addition to data. Then next. The fourth is feasibility reports are used when a company must decide to proceed with a plan or action. So on the informal reports, you should decide to proceed or to be having plan or action on that. Then second, minutes of meetings are record of the proceeding of meeting. So on the meeting, you should be fast because you have 2 minutes and record. Then third is summarize, condense the primary ideas, conclusion, and recommendation of a longer reports of publication. So on the third, you should have to summarize any ideas or conclusion to understand on what you read in your information report. Then next is overview. Overview, in conclusion, there are 6 types of information reports. Then second, also this chapter discuss for formats for reports. Then third, all of this example presentation are example of informal reports. So that's all. Thanks.